A lot of us here in this group, we talk a lot about Facebook ads, Facebook, right? And I'm really excited to bring somebody on who is amazing at Google Ads, the other side of things, another platform that also kicks ass. Each platform has its pros and cons. So we're going to talk about that tonight because there are certain clients that are better for AdWords, and there's certain clients that are better for Facebook. Now, I know it's Google Ads now, guys. I've been calling it AdWords for the last like 5 years, though. So give me a break. If I say that, it's Google Ads. They got the big name change. And yeah, so we'll jump in here in a second. Want to make sure that we're live. Looks like we got some people on. We're good. Jamie, Malcolm, what's happening, guys? John, my man, what's up? What's up? All right. So with that being said, guys, we got Jacob here and Sema. Super excited. Sema's sending a bot for us here, but we'll be going back and forth. But Jacob, man, go ahead, introduce us a little bit, man. Tell us about your background and what you're currently doing, and we'll go from there.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having me, guys. Yeah, so my experience starting, I'll kind of take you guys back. When I first got started in business, I started off in network marketing, actually with Sema. So that's where I got connected with Sema back in Michigan with an awesome company called Vima. So that was a good experience. And that slowly but surely led me into actually working alongside Google up in Michigan in a city called Farmington Hills at one of the satellite campuses. And what I did there was I actually consulted with businesses on behalf of Google. So it was very cool because I didn't learn Google Ads from scrolling through Facebook and some person was selling a course and I took it and I learned it and I started selling it. I learned it right from the source, which is pretty unique. So Google basically came in, they trained me on the platform, how to use it. And then what I did is they turned me loose and I was managing accounts for people who qualified and were spending a certain amount on the Google Ads platform. And basically what I would do is if they did qualify, I would cold call these businesses. And I worked in just about every industry that you can imagine, including some really weird ones that are really weird. But people saw everything online, man. But I consulted with them and I basically called them and say, hey, my name's Jacob from Google. And I'm basically here to help you out with your Google ad account. It's a free consultation. And what I would do is I'd go in there and I'd look for areas to optimize. Sometimes I would completely scrap their campaign and start over. Sometimes I would take their existing campaign and work with it. But I'd basically help them and get them to the point where it was a profitable campaign. And then once I helped them, I'd follow up with them, say 2-3 weeks up to a month later, say, hey, Mr. Business Owner, let's take a look at those results that we're getting from the changes that we have made. And the idea is at that point, if I could help them become profitable, I could be like, hey, you're spending $50 a day now. Why don't we spend $70 a day or $80 a day, right? Let's start scaling. And my position there is they paid me hourly as well as commission. So if I could get them to spend more money, guess who else made more money? So that was cool. So that's kind of how Google's backend works. And it's cool that they do that because for me, as someone who worked there, it gave me an invested interest in actually helping out these people, right? Because no one's going to scale their budget or spend more money if it's not working. So first I had to serve them and get them their campaign to work. And then I would help them scale the campaign from there. So I did that for just over a year. And that I fell in love with the concept of being in business to help other business. And because I was in network marketing and I had the entrepreneurial drive and I didn't want to work for anyone at that point. So I left there to start my own agency. And that's what I've been doing now and doing it full time since last October. So for almost a full year. And that's what I do now. I have 10 clients right now that I service and in numerous different industries. Right now I'm focusing on real estate, but there's so many businesses that can benefit from Google. The main ones are service-based businesses, right? People who are going to Google and searching for service. It's a no-brainer, right? If you need a plumber, an electrician, a lawyer, a doctor, a dentist, people are going to Google and typing those things in. And it's just a matter of knowing how to place an ad there so that you can get their attention, bring them to a high converting landing page, and from there, get their email, get them to call in, etc. So yeah, that's kind of my journey up till now.
I love it. So, and that's so awesome. So you manage millions of dollars in ad spend, so you know how it works from the inside. And one thing that, a lot of people, I want to stress this because when I first heard these numbers, it was kind of blew me away. A lot of us, especially as we're getting into a lot of these ClickFunnels style communities, a lot of the groups we're in, like I mentioned before, there's a heavy focus on Facebook ads. What a lot of people don't know is Facebook ads is minuscule compared to Google AdWords. It's not even fucking in close. Like I just pulled up the numbers here so I can give exact data on this, but in 2017, Google did $95 billion in ad revenue, and they're skyrocketing every year. Facebook did 39 billion. So that's over twice as much, guys. Twice as much revenue on Google. Think about that for a second, okay? We live in a world where it's like Facebook, Facebook, Facebook. And don't get me wrong, I love Facebook. I have an entire agency built around it. We spend millions on it. But AdWords is huge, and AdWords is necessary, and there's a lot of differences. So before we dig deep into some of the nuances, I want to go over a couple of things here in regards to what you were talking about in regards to the what businesses are good for AdWords and what businesses are good for Facebook. And that's a great place to start because, as I was telling you beforehand, one of the easiest things you could ever do to get started, in my opinion, and really make a $10,000 a month income is to find a good outsourcer for Google Ads and go after emergency service type businesses. What I mean by emergency is you'll never think about them or need them until you need them, right? Yep. And those are water restoration, fire restoration, plumbing, mold restoration, meth house cleanout, whatever it might be. There's several things that fall under this that are not so good for Facebook ad. Addiction recovery is another one. You can run funnels like that on Facebook. You can do it for anything, but it's much easier on AdWords. And it's really with people searching with intent. So the leads can tend to be higher quality. They can be ready to go. And there's a big difference between it versus Facebook, which can get much cheaper leads in a lot of cases. But, it's disruption-based advertising. The leads can be a little flakier at times, things like that. And so talk to us a little bit about, what you feel in regards to that, Jacob. I want to dig in deeper a little bit in that, and also talk a little bit about some other unknown niches in regards to that. And one other thing I want to mention as well, guys, is now I don't want to take away from, the complexity of Google AdWords, but there's certain campaigns you can set up and just let run. And Jacob, we can talk about that too, but like painting, things like that, like if you get them set up for a local business, it's much less fakeness and it doesn't screw you over as much as Facebook does. And another thing, and I'm over here again, remember guys, I love Facebook. We talk about it. We still do. But another thing you mentioned about being, working with Google to help people actually do good on their platform, the Facebook reps are worthless. We've been assigned 7 of them, and they're all garbage. They suck. We tell them they suck all the time. I've heard that it's the exact opposite over at AdWords. So let's talk a little bit about the different types of businesses that you see that work good on Facebook versus AdWords.
Yeah, so I mean, you pretty much nailed it right on the head. If people are going to Google to search, with intent because they have a problem and they need a solution, like Google isn't even a search engine. Like Google's a verb. Like no one ever searches anything. They Google it, and that's like nobody Yahoo's things, nobody Facebook's things, nobody Bing's things. Like Google just has this unique, stance in that word. That's where everybody goes. Like I have a problem, I need to get it solved. Where am I going to go? I'm going to go to Google, and they search for those problems. And as long as you know what you're doing, you put up the solution there. It's definitely a high qualified lead. It's actually funny because I've done a little bit of Facebook ads. This was like several months ago, but I did Facebook ads a little bit. And after like doing them for a month, I threw my hands up in the air and I was like, I'm done. I'm never doing Facebook ads again. I'm going back to Google where I belong.
Yeah.
And it is Facebook. I would go to scale a campaign and then it would completely crash. And I'd be like, what do you mean? Like it was working just fine. And I just wanted to give you guys more of my money and you completely, my campaign just like went to shit. Right. Yep. So it's weird in that aspect where like Google, I don't have those types of problems.
We have a question, man. And Jim, I think it's a great question. And I'm not sure if so we got a question asking about landscape contracts. And I think it'd be a great one for AdWords, man. I mean, how about you? I know that's going to be the first place to go, landscaping, right?
I actually have a landscaping client now, and that's actually one of my first clients I've gotten, and I've had them now for, I mean, it is seasonal, right? If the company doesn't do snow plowing as well, when winter comes, if you're not, I mean, I'm in Florida now, so it's a little bit different, but I'm from Michigan, and this company's in Michigan. So when the snow is falling, nobody needs their grass cut. So you do have to keep that into consideration as well with some of these businesses that are seasonal, or if they have a product that's more for summer versus winter, obviously search volume is going to be different. So you just want to keep that in mind as clients, because it's like, oh, I got this client, but really you only have them for 3 to 4 months and then you don't have them anymore. So it's definitely something to keep in mind with landscaping. If they offer snow removal too, then that's beautiful. Or if they're just in a place where it doesn't snow and people always need landscaping services, 100%. And a lot of these companies offer, like other things too, like fertilizer or, pest control, or these different things. And these can each be like a separate ad group within your campaign, and you target those specific keywords and you bring people to those specific pages on their website that sell that specific service.
So really, I want to ask, we got some people in here. Guys, give me a 1 down below if you've ever used, AdWords before in regards to your advertising. If it's a part of your plan, if you've thought about anything like that. And then
Jacob, you said that you send it. Do you send the traffic directly to your client's website? Or I know with Facebook, we're building a lot of landing pages just to capture like the name and email address. What do you typically find yourself doing with Google Ads? Is it like a click to call campaign or direct to website?
It's a good question. It really depends on the website and the industry that you're in. More often than not, I will like to build out a custom landing page for them with very clear call to action, because most websites just don't have that. However, there are some websites, more modern websites that some of them do. So it really does depend, but more often than not, you're going to see more success with the landing page over a website. And the key is, if you're going to use a website, the biggest mistake that people make is, let's say, again, you're working with a landscaper and they offer 5 different services. So you have all these different keywords for each of their 5 services, but yet you're bringing all of them to their homepage. Well, if somebody tells you what service they're looking for, doesn't it make sense to, if you're going to send them to a website, at least send them to the page of the service they're looking for, right? And if that page has a clear call to action, phone number, form, sometimes you can get away with that. I have clients that I run traffic direct to their website and we get great results. But I also have some that I've tried the website and it just simply didn't work, and we've built out custom landing pages for them since then, and it's worked much better. So it definitely depends on the industry, what you're selling, and all those different things.
So I want to jump into strategy here in a minute. First, I want to find out how many people have done AdWords. Like, I mean, guys, I see some people on. Let us know if you've done it, because that's going to help direct some of the questions I have as we dig in, how deep we get, or if we're going to continue talking high level. Jodine, one more. We'll ask and keep asking questions about the niches as well, and then I want to get into actually selling it, pricing, things like that, Jacob. But Jodine has a question. Would marriage relationship counseling be a good one?
Totally.
Yeah, it'd be great, right? Counseling, therapy, because that's the stuff that you don't go to until you need it, right?
Exactly.
And, yes, you can build funnels for it. Look, guys, I want to make it clear. You can build funnels for anything, okay? You can build funnels for literally anything. But AdWords is fantastic because people are searching for it. They've already got it in their minds. And whether you think we're clicking, one of the things that blew my mind about AdWords is, I'm like, people actually click the freaking ads? Like, who the fuck clicks the ads? Like, what do you mean we're clicking those? People actually click those, And as I just mentioned, I just reported $94 billion in ad revenue from Google, $39 billion from Facebook, right? And we always think that Facebook's so big, but really AdWords is absolutely massive.
I'll kind of throw this in there just to give you guys an idea. So many people have this false belief where it's like, oh, like SEO is so much better because it's organic and people click on that over the ads. And I actually found this stat that said almost 2/3 of clicks when somebody's search has intent to buy, almost 2/3 of clicks are actually sponsored post clicks over organic.
Yep.
So if somebody's ready to make a decision, they're more likely to click on a sponsored post. If they're at the bottom of the funnel, ready to convert, like raising their hand, like take my money, they're more likely to click on a sponsored post versus organic. And just to give you guys another idea, with the display network, which is, Facebook ads and Google Display Network probably is like the most similar. And because the display network, Google has these partner sites. There's over 3 million partner sites. It could be blogs, it could be the weather, it could be ESPN. There's all these different websites out there, some high quality, some complete junk. But what you can do is you can put image ads similar like you might on Facebook. You can put image ads out there and reach different audiences, cold audiences. You can do remarketing, which is
really quick, Jacob. I want to be really clear on what the GDN guys, the Google Display Network, that's where the big fucking money is moved. Like huge, massive, more money is moved on the Google Display Network than anywhere else, really.
Yeah.
And those are those. They can be the really, really shifty ads that you see if you go to like a political website where it's like, is Trump going to blow up the United States with one click of a button tomorrow? Like those are the Google Display Network ads when he says that. Facebook has something similar with the Audience Network, but you can actually do really good retargeting, especially through the Google Display Network is fantastic. So yeah, you can do so much. And I want to dig into strategy a little bit more after we talk about pricing here. But really quick, I want to get Kevin's question. Yeah, man, restaurants would be solid, although restaurants print money on Facebook. Like, I mean, they just print on Facebook. When you do offers, like that's one where I would probably say Facebook over Google. I don't know what your thoughts would be, Jacob, but it's so easy to stick coupons offers out there to get people and traffic coming in the door. My thoughts would be go for Facebook because you can get if you have a good bot setup, especially, you can really print on Facebook with restaurants.
Yeah, I would agree. To finish my last thought, just to give you guys an idea of how powerful the GDN, the Google Display Network, is, it reaches over 90% of internet users.
Yeah.
So if you're on Facebook and it's like dominate Facebook, right? Well, it's like people are only on Facebook for like a small amount of time. They're on these other sites much more for the most part, and you can reach more. But in terms of the restaurants, it's not from an agency standpoint, I don't think it's an ideal client simply because I like to charge more. And it's a little bit harder to charge more to a restaurant. And like Nick said, if you can just have an attractive offer on Facebook and you do it in the local market, I feel like that's good. I mean, everybody eats, so it's going to be appealing to everybody.
So let's talk about pricing, man. Because with Facebook, and especially in our little worlds, there's a lot of standard pricing, 1,500 here, 2,000 here, things like that. Obviously, it can go up. AdWords can be a little bit more competitive in regards to the amount of spend versus management fee if you look at the big agencies out there. So let's talk a little bit about what you're doing in regards to charging, what you've seen in the marketplace, and how this can work into some of our other packages so that people have other options as they're selling their marketing packages. By the way, guys, I think it's going to be essential moving into 2019 to be able to offer cross-channel. Now, when you're first getting started, you need to niche, you need to specialize at one thing and don't sell everything. But as you expand your list of services, I think cross-channel promotion is going to become more and more important. But so you don't want to sleep on AdWords and the big platforms. But what are you charging right now, man? What do you think people can charge? And do you charge percents of management fees? Do you charge setups? What do you do?
It's a good question, and it's a question that maybe there's really not a right answer for. It depends on who you are, but just to give you guys an idea of industry standard, typically people are in this industry are charging anywhere from 20%, to 30% of ad spend. Now that's not enough money, and it depends on their budget as too. If it's a lower budget, then that's not going to be a lot of money. If it's higher budget, it could be a good deal of money. I used to do a percentage when I first started. Then I moved to a flat rate. Like right now, I'll charge anywhere between $1,000 to $2,000 a month. And sometimes like their ad spend's $1,000, and then my management fee is $1,000. So the key is if you want to charge more, you just have to be in the right industry. You have to talk to people who are charging more and whose customers are worth more. Because if I'm going to charge someone, $1,500 a month, well, I can do that if the leads I'm bringing them have the potential to turn into $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 sales for them. Things like real estate, which is what I'm focused at right now, right? People are getting leads in a wholesale market, and they might flip a house and make $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, if not more. So a lead to them can be very valuable. Therefore, I have the ability to charge more. However, then if you go to like a restaurant or you go to like an e-commerce, like an apparel store, it can be a little bit harder to charge more, especially if they're charging, if they're selling $10, $15, $20 items. It's also harder to run profitable campaigns with cheaper products too, because you obviously, if they only sell a $20 product, well, if you spend more than, $19, you're screwed, and that doesn't even account for their margins, right? So you're already screwed anyway. Whereas if their lead value or whatever they're selling is worth more, there's one, you have more room for error, especially if you're running the ads, you're just starting out, but two, you can just simply charge more. So I personally do a flat fee, but
I agree, man.
That is totally a percentage.
Yeah, and you sell on, and I would almost say, depending on who you're talking with, especially if they're already a Facebook client and you're looking for things to, you know, upsell them to, which I think is a really smart idea, especially because you can find outsourcers for freaking cheap. You don't even know a damn thing. You need to know a damn thing about AdWords. You sell based on value. You sell based on the value of what you're going to bring in the door, right? And especially in the local business arena, because not all these guys work with big agencies where they know about these standards, things like that. You know, some do, some don't, right? But we've charged upwards of, you know, 40% goes to ads, 60% goes to to us, you know, for AdWords campaigns, right? And Jacob knocked the tail on the head as far as or the nail on the head in regards to, you know, the types of clients to go after that I highly recommend. High case value, high customer acquisition value, and you know, I usually have a shorter sales cycle where you can make decisions quickly without having to have a ton of things. Real estate, it takes a little longer, but it's more targeted on Google than it is on Facebook for realtors, things like that.
Yeah.
So
how much are your typical clients spending a month with you?
Yeah, that's
Like ad spend.
Yeah, so that it really does depend on the industry. I have clients that spend upwards of close to $20,000 a month. I have some that spend maybe like $1,000 a month. So it just depends on the size of the business, what they're willing to invest. Like some of the clients that I have still are ones that I had in the very beginning when I first started, and that's when I was like cheaper than dirt because I was just starting, you know. So I was cheaper, but they've kept, and I've just kind of honored the price because I know them personally. So I work with them, but and those guys have smaller budgets. But a lot of the new clients I work with, you know, I usually recommend, and again, it depends on the industry, but you need to at least be able to generate like 100 clicks minimum, like in the first month, to try to get some data in there and to start going. So if your clicks are $20 per click, you're obviously gonna need a higher budget than if they're $5 a click as well. Yeah, I kind of a big range of what people are spending.
That's cool.
Yeah, so and I'm about to jump into to strategy here and talk about how to run some campaigns, some high level stuff. But guys, let us know, you know, if you guys have ran AdWords before, how much you know, because I don't know if we need to start at the basic, at the beginning, where that starts. Give me a 1, you know, in the comment section below if you guys have done AdWords or if you're familiar about it, so we can, you know, get started with it. But in regards to, you know, getting set up, man, let's start high level, Jacob. Sam had a great question before. Where are you driving the traffic to? I think that's important. I always would recommend running the landing pages. We don't do that much AdWords, but I just always want to create our own landing pages because most clients' websites suck, right? You know, there's no quick call to action. There's none of that. So let's just start, you know, with a typical campaign. Are you usually running 2 landing pages? Are you doing a lot of click to calls? Are you spending money as in the local maps? What are you spending or how would you set up the campaigns, and how do you diagnose that with different types of clients?
Yeah, so I have an analogy of how to set up campaigns and how to, because here's the thing, and Google has this new keyword plan, right? Like Google's updated everything. So the whole reason that Google, it used to be called Google AdWords, and now it's Google Ads. So they literally just like dropped the words. And the reason they did that is because, you guessed it, Facebook is an emerging kind of giant inside of the advertising space. And Google's like, people look at us and they just think of us as like just search network. And it's just keyword based. So that's the reason they dropped the words at the beginning. YouTube.
That's where all the money is. We'll get there in a second. Sorry to keep going though. But YouTube.
So strategy was the question.
Yeah, you had an analogy.
Got me all thinking about YouTube over here, man.
About YouTube, dude. Like that's where you know, we want to be on. I'm coming to YouTube near you, just so you guys know. You'll see me out there.
So the keyword planner, Google's keyword planner, also got updated. And when you look for, and the way you get to the keyword planner is you have to actually create a Google ad account, and then you can access that. It's completely free, but that's where you can do like research on search volume and all that kind of stuff, which is important if you're going to be pitching a new client to understand that. But the reason I bring that up is because inside of there, it gives you a range, like low to high, on what you can expect to pay cost per click. And it's like, well, how can you give me this range from like $10 to $40 for cost per click? Like, which one is it? And it, for people who don't understand how Google works, that is a good question. But the reason that it has that in there is because Google incorporates something called quality score, which is 3 factors: your expected click-through rate, your ad relevance, and your landing page experience. Those 3 things right there. Every time you have a keyword, you could have 100 keywords. You're going to have 100 different quality scores for each of those keywords, assuming that the keyword actually has data. But Google's actually grading you on how relevant, essentially it boils down to how relevant is your keyword to your ad, to your landing page. is the words that they're using in the search queries the same words that you use in your ads? And are the same words that are in your ads, are those the same words that are on your landing page or your website? And Google's looking at that. And if there is no congruency there, you, my friend, are going to pay what I call the Google stupidity tax. Meaning, I didn't actually come up with that. I can't take credit for that. I got it from a book I read. But, full disclaimer. But I read that, and it's genius, because truly, if you don't understand quality score and that, you're going to pay the stupidity tax, meaning you're going to pay more per click than you need to. And if you pay more per click than you need to, guess what else increases? Your cost per lead or your cost per acquisition as well. So how do you get it so your quality score is good?
So hold on, Jacob, really quick, man. Before we go into some of that type of stuff, I want to take it a step back, because I'm sure it seems to me as if there's a lot of people who are new to AdWords. And before we start digging into quality score, kind of touched on this a little bit, but I want to take it a little deeper. What if we're thinking, I've got a client or I've got a niche I'm interested in. Is this good for AdWords? And you talked about the keyword planner. What would you do to go prepare to see if somebody would be a good fit, right? If you've got a current client, you're looking for upsells, let's start there. You kind of hit on that, and then we'll move into some of the quality score stuff, just because I want to make sure that we're not going past people right now.
Yeah. So the first thing is you can use a keyword planner just to understand like search volume. So create a Google Ads account, go into your menu, top right, click on the gear icon, and then boom, get into the keyword planner. But what you can do in the keyword planner is, let's say it's like a dentist, right? You could go in there and you could actually post the link to the dentist website or any dentist website, right? And then you could even put like your own keyword in there, like dentist near me or emergency dentist. And what Google will do is it'll give you a list of all keywords that are very similar to that. And there's other tools you can use as well, like SEMrush, SpyFu. Those are a couple of tools. I personally like SpyFu, spyfu.com, which is another like research tool that you can use. But there's pretty much search volume out there for just about everything. As you can imagine, Google being the #1 search engine out there. But to truly understand how much volume is there and what you can expect to pay, start with Keyword Planner. And like I said, you can also use those other tools as well. And from there, you can even create like a plan. Like you can take inside of the Keyword Planner, you can select keywords that you think you want to use. You can add them to a plan. You can say, I expect to get like a 10% conversion rate, and Google will like kind of like project like, this is probably what you can expect to pay per lead and all this different stuff. And I don't know how accurate it really is. Like
if Facebook was 10% accurate, I'd be a fucking billionaire right now with how many conversions I would be getting every day. But it's a good start, right, guys?
It's a good start to give you an idea.
That, guys. So if you have something you're interested in looking at adding, or maybe good for my niche, you can go to the Keyword Planner. You can play around in there. You can start to see search volume for a certain amount of market. Because one of the things that is a bit of a hindrance sometimes on AdWords is the ability to spend money. Because you can only spend money if people are searching. And so, some places the search volume is really low, or some random stuff, it can be really low. But we'll get to that more in a minute. So we go to the Keyword Planner. We look at it. We can make plans from there. And Google's Keyword Planner is very user-friendly now. You can see the different types of searches, and it'll give you a bunch of different strings of combinations. It'll start giving you suggestions on what you can search for. So you can build all these up, so that way you can start to put together, campaigns. That's it at a high level. That's to see if it's a good idea. And when he says SpyFu, SEMrush, some of these other ones, I like SpyFu better as well. You can even see like straight up ads, right? Like, you can even go in and see what other people are doing. Like, you can totally spy on other people. So those are really good tools to kind of learn more about the game.
Totally. Yeah. And inside of the Keyword Planner, there's two options when you go into it. The first one is there's like two boxes, and you have to choose one to move forward. The first one is like find like keywords, like you're trying to get keyword ideas. And then the other one is to understand search volume. So if you're just at the beginning stage, like what keywords, like what could people possibly be searching for this business? You'll choose the option on the left on the screen, which says like, give me a list of keywords, right? And you'll give Google an idea of what you're going for, and then it'll give you a list of keywords. If you already know your keywords and you just want to get search volume, then you choose the option on the right, you click on that. You can literally copy and paste the keywords that you want to get search volume statistics for. And once you put those in there, you'll get a good idea of about what the search volume is. And it'll break it down month by month as well, just because some businesses, search volumes, higher in certain seasons, depending on the type of business. So there's kind of two parts of the Keyword Planner there.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. So let's talk about some specifics then, in regards to that. So let's say we've got our keyword plan, all that. So when we start to get into campaign build out, let's talk about the different types of campaigns, and let's keep it basic. I know AdWords can get extremely complex. There's a lot you can do on the back end. One of my, one of the guys I talk about on here all the time, everyone knows that I think he's one of the best marketers alive. Alex Becker is obsessed with it, and I've seen things that have made my head spin on the background. But let's just keep it simple. Click to call. Do we set up websites? What do we do? When we get going after we've gone through the keyword planner and everything.
Yeah. So there's a few different networks on Google, right? You have your search network, you have your display network, you have your shopping network, you have YouTube, and then you even have app campaigns if you're gonna promote it to download an app. But for somebody who's just starting off, if you're someone who's I want to learn how to do this because everyone's out there selling Facebook ads, but I don't know anybody selling Google ads, which is sometimes how I feel. But it's I totally forgot where I was going with that.
Dude, it's all right though. If no one's selling AdWords, man, when people zig, you zag, bro. You know what I mean? You go out there and be like, Facebook leads suck.
Right?
AdWords,
throw stones, throw stones at them.
Yeah, obviously I love Facebook leads and all that, but you can play off that. There's a huge opportunity for that, especially since these guys are so used to getting pitched on Facebook right now. And when they've been pitched AdWords in the past, it's probably from big agencies, and it probably wasn't as unique as what we're currently.
I get that a lot.
Place. So we don't want to sleep on Google Ads, which is why I wanted to bring you on. So,
So what I was going to say there was for someone who's just starting off in this space, like Nick said, display network, YouTube, that stuff can get very, not confusing, but there's a lot more that goes into it than say a search network campaign. So if you're someone who's just starting off and you want to learn how to do this stuff yourself, 100% start with search network. It's the lowest hanging fruit that Google has to offer. Again, it's someone has a problem, they go to Google and they're looking for a solution. And it honestly doesn't take a genius of a marketer to position yourself right and get them a good enough offer to have them take action. Yeah. If you deal with higher level search volume stuff like lawyers and real estate, I've seen clicks go for close to $100. So I wouldn't recommend starting there just because, as you can imagine, you can blow through a budget very, 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 very quickly. So you want to be very careful there.
But AdWords will just raise the budget. Holy crap. Yeah. They don't fuck around. They will just spend money. We were running YouTube campaigns, and all of a sudden, I added in a keyword. I was running campaigns for getting client acquisition, getting doctors to sign up with me, right? We were doing stuff before we got banned on AdWords, which I want to ask you about in a second.
Oh, man.
But I accidentally put in there, what did I put in? Doctor marketing or something like that. And all of a sudden I spent $800 in a day after I was barely spending any money. And I was like, and it was not what I wanted to do, at all. It completely was gone, and they have no remorse. They'll just blow it out for you.
Yeah. And I'll tell you kind of why that happens. When you set a daily budget in Google, let's say it's $20 a day, right? What Google does is Google does not care what your daily budget is. Just letting you guys know, they only care what your monthly budget is. What I mean by that is they take your daily budget, say it's $20, and they multiply it by 30.4, right? So in this case, it'd be $640 if I did the math right. So $640 is now your monthly budget. So what that means is Google's focused on the monthly budget, and they don't care what your day is. And I actually called them because Google pissed me off with this because I launched a new client campaign. I put it at $50 a day, and the first day it spent $100. Now it's it doesn't seem that big of a deal, but I didn't want to spend that much because I just launched the campaign and I was just doing the initial testing phase, and I didn't quite have my audience zeroed in, so I didn't want to spend that much money yet. But what Google can do is say your budget's $20 a day, they can spend up to $40 a day, so they can completely double it. But they won't go over your monthly budget. So that's why sometimes when you just launch a campaign, you might freak out whoa, they're spending so much money, so much more than I have told them to. They're not going to give you it back. It's just how it works.
Yeah, definitely. One thing that's good about Google though is you can pick up the phone and actually talk to somebody. So that helps a lot, right? They at least
1-866-2 Google.
Yeah, I had an unfortunate thing with them where I finally just got my list unbanned a week ago. Because they were, I don't know, we work in the medical field and they thought I was going to medical because you know how they can be with retargeting.
Yeah. Google's very much more strict than Facebook. It's much more, Facebook will get there. I do think so. Facebook's getting there, but Yeah.
But Google will work with you too, right? Like they'll tell you they'll work because they want you to spend money. They're not stupid. Facebook like essentially just like wants you to not spend money with them sometimes. They just lie. I'm like, all right, what's going on here? So it's rough. But so let's talk about some client acquisition. You know, we know that you were working with Google for a long time, and you've recently been going after your agency after you manage millions of dollars in spend. So of course you're going to start an agency, right? Let's talk about how you got some of those clients, some of the messaging you're looking at using there.
Yeah. So when I first started, it was literally just like, it's kind of like network marketing, make a list of people, and start going out there and contacting them. And that's one way to do it, right? It's kind of like the Dan Henry approach. I think we lost Sema.
Yeah, she's reconnecting.
All right. It's or like the Dan Henry approach where you go in and you make a post on Facebook, right? And you're just looking, because essentially your first goal when you're just starting off, if you've never done it, is you just need to get a case study so you can leverage that case study and essentially don't sell Google ads to the next business, sell that case study to the next business.
Yeah.
So that's what I did when I first started. I was just, I would, charge cheap, right? I never did it for free, but I would go out there and I'd find people who I already knew, or I'd ask people who knew business owners, and I'd try to get my foot in the door that way. Another thing that you can do is like just driving around. Like if you guys start kind of opening your eyes to this, you're going to see so many businesses that you drive by that have like a van, right? Like just on my way, today I'm driving and boom, an air conditioning company van passes me. Like that's a great client. Like take a picture of the van, write down the website, go do some research, see what they're doing. And sometimes you can help them out. What I've found is so many of these companies out there have a huge company, right? Multi-million-dollar company, and it's all offline. They don't really do anything online. And so it's not like all you have to do is plug in this online traffic source and they already have the backend to fulfill it. So local companies
really quick with the van and seeing things, I gotta mention this because we were doing a live for the private Crusader group, and one of my heroes, my favorite people, the talented Mr. Salas, for anybody who knows Frank. Max credit to this guy. We're gonna get him to come do a live here for the big group as well. He shared with us one of the most interesting prospecting techniques I'd ever seen. He goes into like garbage cans in areas and he pulls out ads and he takes a picture of himself with the ad that's in the garbage can. It's like, bro, do you want this in the garbage can? Or you want to pay me? I thought that was like the most genius shit
That's
ever.
amazing.
Like, Frank, you were the man. All of that's a Frank Salas original right there, guys. I mean, it was genius. I was like, man, I've done some pretty creative stuff, but that's like next level.
That's awesome.
I was going to mention that because you're talking about taking pictures with the van. I mean, literally billboards, everything. I've done it everywhere. John Logar, one of my mentors, we did a live with him last week. He's always like, I never understand when people say I need more leads. He's like, everybody's a lead. Like everybody that spends money is a lead. Everyone that spends money, not everybody. Everybody that spends money is a lead. Especially for the online marketing stuff. So, anyways, keep going with your stuff. I cut you off there. What's up, Sam? Are you back?
You're good.
Is she here?
Looks like she might be frozen.
Oh, she's frozen. We got a nice picture of Sam there.
So I kind of went into then, just looking, local businesses because I could actually meet up with them and talk with them, which you don't have to do. But when I first started off, based on what I knew, that's what I was doing. And now I do cold email marketing campaigns, which has been by far the most profitable thing that I've done in terms of outreach. And it's as simple as like, it's like your first goal again is to go get a case study, leverage that case study in a cold email and bring them to a page where they can schedule a call with you.
Oh.
It's very simple, but the key is just once you get that case study, and if you have to charge less to get the case study, like I promise you it's worth it because that's what I've done. And now I've leveraged that case study and these clients pay me 3 times as much as the other person. So, I mean,
or do it for free, man. I don't give a shit. Do whatever you can to get, I always tell people.
Got to get a case study.
Get testimonials. And it's good for so many reasons, guys, from a sales process here. 1, it's good to sell and start other conversations. 2, and almost more importantly, it gives you confidence when you go into the call that you can produce results.
Oh, yeah.
When you're just getting started, people can smell a lack of confidence. They can smell when you're nervous or you don't know if you're going to be able to think. When you've got a case study behind you and you're like, holy shit, I'm generating leads. There's nothing like seeing your phone light up for those first couple leads. I'll never forget. I used to have all my leads go to my phone, and then it just got to a shit show all day long before I stopped. But that confidence is insane when you know that you can produce the results that you're going out and reaching out and selling. So I'm all about it. Get the video testimonial, get it. Get the case study even deeper. Get the video testimonial. I don't care if you have to pay for it. We pay for video testimonials over here. We give them $100 in ad spend for them. You know, our guys get great results. People are busy. They don't always do it, but we leverage it when we get as many as we can. It's huge.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's honestly one thing I should do is I don't have like the video testimonials. So that's a little note that I'll take down for me.
Yeah, get them and then slap them on a landing page, and then it makes it so much easier for things to convert when you're running your cold email campaigns or LinkedIn campaigns, things like that. Yeah. And what's interesting is selling AdWords and selling, Facebook should essentially be like almost the same. Because guys, what you got to remember, I talk about this all the time, and I always turn this into a sales conversation somehow. But what you got to remember is you're not selling the fucking platform. The platform doesn't matter. You're selling the new customer. Like, it should not matter at all where that new customer is coming from. They could be coming from Snapchat ads or Twitch. By the way, 2 platforms I'm watching very closely right now, especially Twitch is huge. So like it's not even a big deal. You can work this right in your sales process, because you shouldn't be selling based on, we're not with local businesses. We don't need to get advanced crazy about the back end stuff, right? Like, they just care about your customers. They don't care about your pixels. They don't care about your analytics or blah, 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 blah.
I learned that the hard way, man. I learned that the hard way, because I'm not, and this is just who I am. If you guys know like Tony Robbins, like DISC test, the DISC assessment, right? DISC, and like your personality, I'm a high C. And by that, I mean like a 99 when I took the test. So I'm not like a natural like salesperson. It's not, I wouldn't say it's my strength. Like, I'm an analytical, sit on the back end and run ads type of person. So I made the mistake of getting on with these business owners, man. And I'm just so passionate about Google. I love talking. Like, earlier I started talking about quality score. Like, I get excited and I start talking about things that's like, all right, too soon. But I did that with business owners, and it's true, man. Somebody said something to me. It's actually one of my existing clients. He said something to me because I was like, dude, I'm trying to go after wholesalers. You're a wholesaler. Here's the rebuttals I'm getting. Like, what am I doing wrong? And he's like, well, tell me what you're talking about. And I was like, well, I'm explaining Google Ads and how it works. And he goes, I'm going to tell you something. I could get on a call tomorrow with somebody else in my industry and sell them your service, and I don't know shit about Google Ads. Yep. And I like dropped my phone, and I got like really mad because I was like, dang it, he's right.
Yeah, absolutely.
It changed everything, and I closed like 3 clients the next 2 weeks after that.
I mean, talking about the jargon, focus on the customer's end result. It is so big. I could definitely get in and sell AdWords all day long because I know how to sell customers. We don't sell, the sweetest, dopest pixel or lookalike audience. It's now at 3%. The Facebook, we sell customers. So with that being said, guys, what kind of questions do you guys have, right now for Jacob? We've got a guy who's managed millions of dollars in ad spend here. I feel like basically, I don't want anyone in here sleeping on AdWords. That's really what it comes down to, or Google Ads. It's really important to be aware of and all of that. Now, again, I'm big on specializing. I'm big on, getting really good at one thing. And one of the things, again, about AdWords that's amazing is there's a lot of really, really good outsourcers out there as well. And it's really beneficial in order to, add it to your repertoire. And it's a great upsell down the line because, you should be running paid ads for both. It can be really, really good to get an extra $1,000 a month out of clients. And once you get it up and running, it doesn't always take a ton of work. Now, there is a lot of complexities there can be, especially in competitive stuff, but it's not as finicky as Facebook. It tends to work a little bit better.
Definitely not as finicky. Yeah. Jameson asked here about third-party tools. I honestly use this one. It's called Optio, which it's like this automated technology. I hook it up to all my client campaigns. And that basically like sends you alerts and things like that. So it's the whole concept of, right, like I can't be in all my campaigns 24/7. I hired someone part-time to help me out like a couple months ago, which has been a huge help on doing like the day-to-day activities. Because a lot of people do, have to set it and forget it in Google Ads. And sometimes you can get away with it. But in my experience, you do have to be careful with it, because whenever I've done that or I've seen business owners do that, is your costs will slowly start to inflate if you don't keep control of it. And it could be 5 to 10 minutes of management a day. It's nothing crazy, but so I'll use that. I don't really use like a lot of like the third-party tools. I use SpyFu, like I said, as well. A lot of the tools I use are provided right by Google. I use CallRail for like call reporting, for recording phone calls. So there's a bunch of different services out there that you can use. And there's also like other third-party tracking stuff that you can hook up to it just to like have two sources of that information. I always use Google Analytics hooked up on the back end as well. So those are good. And then I think he asked about the click-to-call ads as well. I honestly am not a fan of them, and I don't know if I should like retry them or not. But when I was with Google, they had always what they had always told me is that it typically cost more, and maybe it's beneficial, but it typically costs more for that because there is no landing page involved in that. But they say that the clicks are usually a little bit more. But then again, it is a phone call, so maybe that's okay. But I generally don't run any call or click to call campaigns right now or call only campaigns. I should say call only campaigns. I use the click to call feature, which is a call to call extension on all the ads if the business owner wants phone calls. But I don't run call only campaigns, and I'm not saying you shouldn't. It just, when I first started learning this platform, it was like drilled into my head that it just typically costs more. And with the people I was working with, it just like wasn't as good of a fit. So I wouldn't say like, don't try it. It's just, it's not something I could vouch on totally because I just don't run them that much.
Gotcha. Yeah. And there's just so many different ways to run ads. It's crazy.
I mean, yeah, there's it's like, is there really a right or a wrong?
But if Google's telling you that, it's probably worth listening to, especially since, like we've talked about, they're usually a little smarter about their platform than Facebook tends to be. Sam had a question. She got kicked off. It looks like here we're gonna have to work on a better spot for her here at the office. But scaling, when you have to be very, very very, very cautious when you scale Facebook ads. It needs to be done a certain way and it needs to be at a certain time and all that. Now, how is it with Google?
I don't have any. I don't have like a certain way to scale a campaign in Google. If I'm going to scale it, I scale it. And I generally don't have.
If like things break, you just blast. Can you just open up spending like $2,000 a day? With Facebook, if you opened up with a $2,000 campaign, it might be a little finicky. Like when you go up, Google tends perform at $100 and at $5,000.
Yeah, that's really good. So I don't care if this is just me personally, but I don't care if somebody comes to me and is like, Jacob, like I want you to manage $10,000, a month or $20,000 a month. Like when I first launched the campaign, I'm not going to start with that budget because the campaign needs to be optimized before you spend that much. I'm all for spending that much, don't get me wrong, but you have to start smaller because what's going to happen is Google's going to start spending your money. You're going to start getting search terms, which is like you can actually, as far as the search network is concerned, you can actually see inside of Google Ads word for word what people typed into the Google search bar that caused your ad to show up. So I'm going through and I'm like literally looking at these like, is this relevant? Nope. All right. Now it's a negative keyword. Is this relevant? Yeah. Am I bidding on it? Nope. Okay. Maybe I'll make this a keyword. And I'm going through and I'm basically like teaching Google's algorithm, like not only is this what I want, also known as my keywords, but this is what I don't want, which is my negative keywords, which again, if you start getting into like real estate or lawyers where their clicks are super expensive, if you just tell Google what you want and you just use keywords, but you don't use negative keywords, they're going to spend a lot of your money and it's going to be spent on traffic that you don't want. So unless you're going into a campaign and you already have all these negative keywords because you've ran ads in this industry before, or you already have all these little tweaks that need to be made, it doesn't matter if they have a huge budget. Don't start using it yet because you need to get the campaign to dial in the traffic that you want. And once you get the campaign to produce the traffic that you want, then you can spend that much money. Otherwise, you'll get to the same point eventually. But one way you're going to spend a lot less money testing, and the other way you're going to blow through a lot more money doing those same tests. So that's personally what I do.
For sure. Okay, cool. We got another question from Don here. Do you run your ad groups in tight configuration?
Yes, Don. That is when I was about to go on my spiel about a quality score. That's exactly why I do tightly themed things. And just to kind of give you guys like a brief overview with like an analogy here. Think of, and this is for search campaign, which again, if you guys are going to start in Google Ads, I recommend starting on the search network because it's the easiest to do. But think of your search campaign as a house, right? You have your house, and within your house, you have your rooms, and within your rooms, you have like appliances or tools, right? For example, you have a house, you have a kitchen, and you have silverware, right? So your house is like your campaign. It's the overall thing. And then inside of that house, you have different rooms, and each room serves a different purpose, right? You don't put your silverware in the bathroom because that's just not what you do. But when people build ad campaigns, sometimes they'll put like, you know, they'll, and I see this so much, especially when I worked with Google and I would go into these business owners' accounts, is they'd say, yeah, you know, I got about 200 keywords here, and they throw them all into one campaign, into one ad group, and they have one ad for it all. And it's very, very generalized, and that's where Google kills you with quality. If you do that, your quality score will suck, and if your quality score sucks, your costs go up 100%. So yes, Don, you do want tightly themed ad groups. If you have a business that offers 5 services, you should at least have 5 different ad groups, one ad group for each service, 100%, if not more, depending on the different ways you could search for that specific service. But if you can't, at the end of the day, if you can't take what somebody's searching in Google, the words that they're searching in Google, if you can't take those and they're not inside of your ad copy, you need to break it down and you need to have more tightly themed ad groups. You need to have more ad groups. I try to stay like 15 to 20 keywords per ad group, and that's very generalized. Again, I have some ad groups that have 1 keyword, and I have some ad groups that have more, but generally speaking, if you start getting more than 20, there's a good chance you could probably segment that a little bit more and help increase your quality score that way. So it's a really good question.
I love it. No, that's amazing stuff right there, guys. And that's literally how to run it. That's simple.
That right there is the key to the vault, man. I'm telling you,
right
if you
there.
understand that, you will master the search network. 95% of people who run Google ads don't understand that. And here's what's crazy, man.
Yeah.
When I worked with Google, sometimes I would call a business owner and say, hey, Mr. Business Owner, I'm here to help you with your Google Ads account. And they'd say, oh, don't worry, Jacob, I have an ad agency taking care of that. Oh, really, Mr. Business Owner? Because I'm looking at your ad account right now, and you're doing this, this, and this wrong. Therefore, you're actually wasting money. Number one, they get very mad. Sometimes they get mad at me, which like, dude, it's not my fault. Like, you're paying this agency, and they don't know what they're doing, to be honest. And then sometimes I would talk with these agencies and try to help out the actual agency itself that's getting paid to manage this, and they didn't even understand this stuff. And it blew my mind because I was like, wow, you're getting paid to manage this guy's ad account and you don't even understand this. And that right there is like, if you take away one thing from this and you're going to run an ad and you're going to run a campaign in the search network, like just take that to heart and implement that. And there's a good chance if you have a good landing page that you'll be able to see success.
I love it, man. I love it. So with that, I don't see a ton of questions. We're coming up in an hour now. I want to be cautious of your time, man. Guys, if you have any questions, you're watching the replay, #replay, and then ask Jacob, tag him in a post. He'll come in, answer any questions here. A couple things I want to leave you guys with. Remember, guys, $94 billion, and it grew massively on AdWords in 2017 compared to 2016. Okay, Facebook, $39 billion. All right, just keep that in mind. I still love Facebook. I run a Facebook agency. We spend millions of dollars and give them to Facebook. However, you know, moving into 2019, we're looking at AdWords becoming a big part of our marketing strategy because
especially with YouTube and stuff.
Yeah, and we've got a team we can build it out. So with that being said, Jacob, thank you so much, man. Again, that last part, amazing knowledge. All of it was great, dude. I hope we got a good introduction for the group here to AdWords because I know it's new to a lot of people. So Jacob, man, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it, dude.
Hey, man, thanks for having me. Hopefully it was helpful for you guys.
Oh, you got it, brother. Actually, where can we find you? Do you have any groups, anything like that? Anything we can follow, tips, anything of that nature?
So my biggest social media platform is Instagram. You guys can find me at Jacob T. Hicks.
Drop it down in the comments. And everybody at Jacob T. Hicks on Instagram. Go check it out. We're going to be talking more Instagram in the upcoming weeks here in this group because Instagram is just taking over the universe right now. So yeah, Jacob, thank you so much, man. It's been awesome, and I hope everyone has a great evening.
Awesome. Thanks.
All right, later, guys.